Hours after Donald Trump announced what he described as a historic agreement with Iran, fresh questions have emerged over whether Tehran's leadership is genuinely prepared to abandon its nuclear ambitions or merely buying time through diplomacy. The emerging U.S. Iran deal now faces new uncertainty after reports suggested that CIA assessments raised doubts inside Washington about Iran's willingness to make the nuclear concessions demanded by the Trump administration. As Donald Trump pushes forward with a diplomatic breakthrough that he hopes will reshape the Middle East, divisions within his own administration are exposing fears that the United States could once again be entering an agreement with a partner that may not fully honor its commitments. Critics of the deal are now warning that if Iran refuses to abandon its nuclear ambitions after securing diplomatic and strategic gains, Washington could face another major foreign policy embarrassment following a costly confrontation that failed to produce a decisive military outcome. The emerging U.S.-Iran agreement has come under fresh scrutiny after reports revealed that CIA Director John Ratcliffe privately raised serious concerns about Tehran's true intentions behind the proposed nuclear deal. According to an Axios report, U.S. intelligence assessments questioned whether Iran was genuinely prepared to make the nuclear concessions Washington is seeking as part of a final agreement. Reports said Ratcliffe briefed President Donald Trump and other senior U.S. officials on June 15, presenting intelligence findings that reportedly cast doubt over Iran's willingness to fully comply with American demands. Despite the concerns raised within his own administration, the White House maintained that President Trump had considered all competing viewpoints but remained the ultimate decision-maker on whether to move ahead with the agreement. The reported CIA assessment has now added a new layer of uncertainty to the already fragile U.S.-Iran nuclear negotiations, raising questions about whether the diplomatic breakthrough can survive growing skepticism inside Washington. Reports suggested that divisions emerged within Donald Trump's own team after Secretary of State Marco Rubio and Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth raised concerns over the U.S.-Iran memorandum of understanding. The Trump administration reportedly witnessed an internal debate over the Iran agreement, exposing differences between officials who viewed the deal as a diplomatic breakthrough and those who feared it carried significant strategic risks. Vice President JD Vance, Special Envoy Steve Witkoff and advisor Jared Kushner reportedly supported the emerging agreement, creating a clear divide within the White House over the future direction of Iran policy. Skeptics inside the Trump administration reportedly questioned whether Tehran would ultimately agree to the strict nuclear restrictions demanded by Washington in a final settlement. Critics of the current memorandum warned that Iran could gain more strategic and diplomatic advantages from the agreement while delaying or avoiding major concessions sought by the United States. The US and Iran are expected to sign a peace agreement on June 19 in Switzerland, according to reports that cite officials and media on both sides. The specific details of the deal have not yet been published in full, with only selective leaks and brief hints emerging from Washington and Tehran. A 60-day round of talks on Iran's nuclear program is expected to begin after signing, alongside US compensation measures outlined in the framework. With so much still undisclosed, speculation is rife over what else the US-Iran peace agreement might include beyond nukes, Hormuz access, and financial relief. US may halt oil sanctions under proposed agreement. Deal could include a $300 billion reconstruction package. $24 billion in frozen funds may be released. Iran's deputy FM says talks will start only after frozen assets are unlocked. US officials reject claim that asset release is a precondition for talks. Reports suggest US agreed to drop Iran's missile program from negotiations. Iran's support for Hezbollah, Houthis, Hamas said to be off the agenda. If true, deal would narrow talks to nuclear and sanctions issues. Tehran also wants UN Security Council restrictions lifted or cancelled. Reopening Hormuz is expected to be a key pillar of the US-Iran understanding. Trump says Strait of Hormuz will reopen freely, without any transit tolls. Iranian media says Gulf shipping will be regulated with Oman, not fully unrestricted. Next phase of negotiations to focus heavily on Iran's nuclear program. Reports say Trump accepted uranium destruction or dilution inside Iran. Any uranium reduction would reportedly take place under UN supervision. Trump signals shift from zero enrichment demand to tightly capped enrichment. Trump says Iran will be allowed only low-level uranium enrichment under deal. US seeks strict limits to ensure Iran's program remains non-military. Trump vows Iran will never exceed agreed enrichment thresholds. White House says all 12 tons of enriched uranium must be removed or diluted. Trump proposes joint US-Iran effort to excavate and process uranium stockpile. Washington seeks near-immediate access to Iranian nuclear facilities. U.S. official claims final deal aims to dismantle Iran's nuclear program. Tehran has not publicly endorsed Trump's proposed inspection framework. Mediator Pakistan says ceasefire deal includes Lebanon. Tehran claims Lebanon clause was a key condition for restraining retaliation. Iran demanded Israeli withdrawal from southern Lebanon. Israel rejected any obligation under the Lebanon provisions of the deal. Netanyahu told Trump Israel is not bound by Iran-US-Lebanon understandings. Israeli PM insists IDF forces will remain in current positions in Lebanon. Lebanon front could become first major test of any U.S.-Iran accord. A senior political analyst has alleged that Israel has derailed U.S.-Iran deal efforts at least 5 times, blocking understandings that were close to conclusion. Ahmad Abshinas claimed that Washington and Tehran came close to agreements on 3 separate occasions under President Biden, only for those efforts to be disrupted. He also argued that 2 additional breakthroughs were nearly reached under the Trump administration, but those 2 failed to materialize amid Israeli resistance. According to Abshinas, Iran now insists that a Lebanon ceasefire be formally included in any future U.S.-Iran deal, tying the Northern Front directly to nuclear and sanctions talks. He contended that Israel has deliberately kept the Lebanese front active in order to complicate diplomacy, using ongoing clashes to narrow the room for negotiation. Abshinas further claimed that Israel continues military pressure even though Lebanon has accepted key ceasefire demands, suggesting that the objective is to maintain leverage, not end the fighting. The analyst added that Tehran is unlikely to abandon allies such as Lebanon during negotiations, meaning Iran will keep their interests on the table in any talks with Washington. In his view, any future deal may hinge on whether the U.S. can genuinely balance between Israel and Iran, rather than allowing one partner to repeatedly veto emerging agreements. Israel told Trump it does not consider itself bound by the Lebanon-related clause included in the agreement, yet reported. Israeli officials said the Prime Minister made clear that Tel Aviv would not back down in its campaign against Hezbollah. Netanyahu also told Trump that Israel would not withdraw from its current military positions inside Lebanon. Israel said the IDF would continue striking Hezbollah targets and destroying infrastructure it considers threatening. Officials said Netanyahu received the full backing of Israel's security cabinet regarding the Lebanon issue. Senior Israeli officials said they expect possible pressure from Washington following the U.S.-Iran agreement. Officials warned the U.S. could seek Israeli withdrawals or push for limits on future military operations in Lebanon.